A good teacher is someone who can share their enthusiasm and their passion, who is able to kind of learn something new alongside their students.
A good teacher is someone who builds the ethos of care into the classroom, someone who thinks deeply about their students, and Julie is someone who is very, very sincere and has like a deep level of respect for the students.
My name is Julie Beaulieu. I teach in the Gender, Sexuality, and Women's Studies program. I teach queer theory, trans studies, a course on the history of sexuality called Sex and Sexualities. A lot of the work that we do in the Gender, Sexuality, and Women's Studies program really is about introducing students to counter-histories. If we're leaving out the perspectives of queer people, if we're leaving out the perspectives of queer people of color, if we're leaving out the perspectives of women, in many cases, canonical history is doing that, then they're missing the broader picture, right? The broader social landscape that we all are trying to share.
So you can really tell that she spends a lot of time thinking about how students are going to feel handling perhaps difficult or challenging subject matter. And I think in a field like gender studies, where a lot of people have really personal investments in kind of what they're studying, that sort of care and consideration is really important.
University of Pittsburgh students, in my experience, are super open-minded. They're really excited to engage with these topics. In many cases, they've never had a chance to speak in an academic environment about something that we tend to view as a very private issue. But we know that in many cases, it's also an extremely public issue. And it tends to be hard to even get your lectures out because the students are just eager to really jump in and talk about the research.
There's sort of a trope or a narrative that it can be like pulling teeth to get students to speak up in class. But I seem to remember in a lot of her classes there being a really healthy and productive exchange of views. And I think kind of a rare opportunity where people that maybe had different opinions are actually learning from each other.
In conversations, in classrooms, in discussions, and also in their office hours, just running into them in the elevator, the stairwell, you can always have like a very meaningful conversation with them, even if it's a 5-second conversation. I don't ever leave a class and leave what I've learned from Julie in the class. It always transcends and comes with me.
She's been really inspiring for me to come into anything you're learning with an open mind, not just looking to books and texts and research and all of that, but actually like learning from the people around you in the classroom and in the world. She's taught me this really important balance of being outspoken and also being really caring towards other people and being a really good listener.
The big thing I hope my students take away is really just an openness to diverse points of view. The way that people think about the world is not just a sort of singular phenomenon. The way that they think about the world is the way that they have been taught to think about the world. If we can be curious about that, then I think something incredibly transformative can happen in that space. I come from a working class background, and that was a unique transition for me. There's a lot of that I think really attunes me to the fact that I don't really know the backgrounds of my students. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know what kind of resources they need. But I do have a very acute understanding of how deeply I needed the resources that my teachers and my mentors gave me. So I do think that that's actually the most beautiful thing about teaching, is that I can be in that position to know how valuable that mentorship is. And so if they're a historically minoritized student, and you think you're giving them resources that are like theories and etc., but in fact you're giving them a resource that they may never have had before, which is, I have faith in you, I believe in you.
So in thinking about my time spent with Julie, I think I learned a lot about the subject matter that I was studying, but she also took a lot of care to help students be prepared for maybe like a lifelong career as a scholar. And I think that kind of openness about maybe the struggles that she faced in her own pathway to becoming an academic was hugely valuable for me in thinking about what next steps would be down the road, particularly as a queer scholar. I'm headed to law school in the fall, and I feel really prepared to kind of bring my background in gender studies and sexuality studies and feel confident articulating what that has to say about the way we practice law, about the way we think about legal theory. And I think a lot of that has to do with my training with Julie.
I can't imagine really what my education here would have been like without Julie. Just feeling like I have someone that I can like go to, who I do feel like I really can respect and look up to a lot. In a couple short months I'll have graduated, and yeah, I'm never gonna forget all of the lessons that she's taught me over the years, so I'm gonna miss her a lot.